Hi. You like this? Hey, pal. That was a birthday present. Happy to have it. My couple of my good friends and I always we used to always either when we saw each other or would text each other would say, "Hey, pal," or "Hey, friendship." So my friend got me that for my birthday. She was like, "Oh, I was gonna get Hey Friendship, but that's way too long and would have probably cost way more." But I just thought that was funny. So that's now being added to the background of this podcast. I don't know if it'll stay right there because I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Does it look fine? Maybe I'll tilt it or put it in between the two framed things, or wear it on my forehead. That could be unique. All right. That was dumb. So I'm drinking this delicious. Listen to that. That's not just a thunderstorm outside. That's delicious coffee brewed to my specifications in a Chemex, which is basically like an Ultra V60. And it's going to be good. I didn't think about this part where I would pour it in while being fucking live on here. Let's see what happens. Okay. There's still a little left. All right. See, this is to give you the illusion that it's the morning, even if you're not watching this live. But it's like 6:30 p.m. and I'm having coffee, which means I'll be awake till 6:30 a.m. I'm actually not like that. Some people are like, I'll have coffee at like, they're like, dude, if I have coffee after like 11 a.m., I'll be awake for 5 days. I'm like, dude, what kind of fucking crazy sensitive caffeine problem do you have? That would be a problem, by the way. Yes, a problem. If you can't have more than one cup of coffee after like 9 a.m. and then you're just like for a fucking week, fuck that. Just drink more. Make your body get used to it. That's the right thing to do. The right thing to do is not stop having coffee after 11, noon, 1. It is have a cup at 7 a.m. and then keep drinking that shit until your body says, I don't know what this is anymore. And it's not affecting us. So I could have an espresso poured into each eyeball and then mainline another double shot, fall asleep 10 seconds later. That's the kind of life you want, you know? And that's the kind of life I have. I am an addict. Listen, this is my only fucking drug. This is the last one I have. Coffee. Delicious, pure. I fucking love it. If they could make the decaf taste exactly. It's gotten better, don't get me wrong. So is the instant stuff. Apparently Verve makes good like instant coffee, and some of the other, third wavy guys, they make good instant, and I was going to get some and just like take it on the plane so I could add it. But once the fucking decaf gets to where it's like indistinguishable, dude, here's me at fucking like 4:30 in the morning. It's me nodding at my dog who's awake for some reason, staring at me. 5 a.m. 5:01. 6 hours later, fine. Everything's fine. But it's getting there, dude. Soon decaf will be just as good. Can't wait. Because right now I'll drink tea, I guess, at night, and that's fine. That's good. Shit. It's getting hot now. It's fucking it goes. It's just like a light switch in this city. It will be cold, snowy, rainy, whatever, and then 2 weeks of what feels like Los Angeles weather, and then if you're gone for those 2 weeks, which I pretty much was, just on the road, then you come back and it's like humid for 4 months. Sorry, missed it. Humid 4 months. Nope, that's it. Can't. Thunderstorm, humid, more humid, thunder. That's where we are now. It's going to be like this till September, and you can't thank God for AirPods, by the way, because remember when you used to have to have your phone up to your ear, and then this fucking part of your elbow right there would just be and it would just be dripping fucking like a river all the way down. And if your arm was up, it would drip up your fucking bicep. And if you have good bicep definition, it would just go up and then shoot up into your eye. No. But yeah, those days are fucking gone. Now your hands free and the sweat's just streaming down. And the rats are drinking it off the fucking sidewalk. Fuck. You guys watched the Canelo fight? I know it happened a week ago. But look, I'm not one of those fucking people that is going to start talking about a thing 2 minutes after it's fucking done. Give people a second. If you didn't get the pay-per-view fight and you couldn't find some fucking streaming site in the Czech Republic to watch it for free, you had to search on YouTube, and within minutes it'll be whoever the fight is, full fight, and then who won it. I'm like, dude, no one wants that info yet. Just put you want to get 1 billion hits off a fight video? Put the fight up and say, no spoilers, full fight, have at it. 5 billion views. Instead, it's KO or round 7 stoppage or whatever the fuck. I'm like, dude, now I'm not watching your video. Because it's I already know what happened, or now I'm mad at you, and I'm not going to support your fucking dumb channel that shouldn't get any views because you're an asshole. Anyway, now it's been fucking a week or more. So if you haven't seen it, fucking Bivol upset Canelo, and the kid in the Sixth Sense was dead. There. I just fucking spoiler alerted you. Here's the thing. I didn't know what was gonna I didn't have an educated boxing guess as to what was gonna happen. I'm not, as the boxing fans online call, a casual. That's what they call people who, anytime they want to insult someone, they're casual, you're not a hardcore enough fan to know all the stats offhand or whatever, or you don't have the right opinion on, Triple G's record or fucking Xander Zayas is something, whatever. I don't participate in that stupid fucking trolling bullshit. I know what I know, and I know enough. But I didn't know who was going to win that fight. I thought for sure it's going to decision. That's all I knew. And much like everyone thought at the end, they were it's going to go to decision. It'll be super competitive. And if Canelo doesn't knock him out, it's going to be close, or they're going to rob Bivol. And fuck, dude, it did look like they tried to rob. It looked like they tried to nudge it in his direction as much as they could. But Bivol was too flawless in the fight. If he let off the gas in round 11 or 12, if he got a little too cocky, it would have been a draw, or they would have given it to Canelo, and fucking, the internet would have been on fire with outrage for, until the next corrupt boxing decision. But here's the thing. I like Canelo. I like watching him. I think he's great. Bivol, I've seen a few of his fights. also great. But and commentators have said this since. They're like that night boxing won, or that fight was good for the sport of boxing. And that was my feeling at the end of it. I thought it was the best outcome because whatever, like first of all, Canelo already has a loss and he has a draw. And I cannot say this enough. I don't care about the 0. I don't care. It doesn't make me respect a boxer less. I mean, once, if you start have 6, 7, 8, 9 losses, you're like, okay, maybe you're a little overrated. But there's UFC guys that have a ton of losses. I don't know how that shit works over there. I don't really watch a lot of UFC, but there's guys that have losses and people still think they're like, one of the greats and he's not to be fucked with. I can't wait for his next fight. They talk about those guys like that and they've got losses, and what's funny about it to me is like losses in everything are what make you better. There's no one who was like a genius out of the gate, perfect, an amazing whatever, musician, comedian, writer, boxer, football player. No, but it's the fucking losses that make you good. And just because you're in the pros now and like, the holy grail is, the Mayweather 50-0 or the Rocky Marciano 50-0. I don't care. And no one's going to be content with it because people, by the time they're fucking 15-0, it's all padded record. He's not fighting people. He's ducking so-and-so. Everyone's ducking everybody when you ask boxing fans, whether they're casuals or fucking experts or whatever. Everyone's ducking everyone. There are too many belts, and everyone has a belt. So why don't we just throw our hands up and just say, okay, let's just see the good fights. That's what I want. And people say no, because the moment you do that, then, you're not the one promoting the fight, or that's, a fighter's going to lose money. But it's happening in the UFC. People are fighting people and they're losing and they're winning, and everyone is tuning in and they're super pumped about the 430 undercards leading up to the one big fight on UFC 6048 or whatever. I want that shit in boxing. I want more Canelo Bivol fights. I want something competitive, edge of your seat, what's going to happen, like the Fury Wilder trilogy, which was, we all know Fury's the better boxer by a fucking mile, but Wilder's got the eraser and you don't know what's going to happen. And there were 3 of those, and each one I was like, Fury's going to win, but I'm at the edge of my seat going, there could be that one punch that ends it all. And that was, and had Fury lost one of them, you think anyone's going to respect him less? Fuck no. People wouldn't have lost respect for Wilder really at all if he had just been like, yeah, I lost. He did that in the 3rd fight, but after that second one, it was just like, whoa, like fucking Teofimo Lopez with like his everything's rigged. It's like, dude, you already gotten hit too many times in the head. Like, you are out of your mind. You'd have less of that. You'd have people tuning in for an amazing fight and then going, thank you for the awesome experience. And then back to the drawing board, learn from your loss, come back a better fighter, which guess who fucking did that when they lost early on? Fucking Canelo. He loses to Mayweather, comes back better. That formed him and shaped him and turned him into the fighter he is now. He would have been great regardless, but dude, that loss changed it. And I'm sure he's in his prime now. He just lost the fight. He's going to get better. He will. And the people who, and it's usually the promoters, I don't know how much it's the fighters, they just go like, I do, my promoter gets fights and I go in, I'll take down anyone. They probably could have more say. I mean, Canelo went free agent just so he could pick and choose without having to worry about the Frank Warrens and the fucking Bob, what's his name? Arum. I want more of that. I want to see the sport of boxing win. That's what I want. Like you have your favorite guys. Awesome. I just want to see the good fights where I don't know what's going to happen. And like something like Canelo Triple G 2 and 3, or even the first one, would have probably happened sooner had they not been trying to, navigate the perfect record. These things would have happened sooner, and these guys trying to line up to fight Canelo would have been like, all right, like he said, go fight each other and I'll fight the winner. Yeah, you'll get that much closer to fighting Canelo once you fight each other. And we want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see Benavidez fight someone who actually has, like a competitive advantage. And I want to see the winner of that fight Canelo. I'm tired of waiting 3 years after someone's prime where you're like, yeah, this is going to be cool. Meanwhile, the entire time in the back of your mind, wish this shit happened a few years ago. Like Mayweather Pacquiao, you're like, why didn't this shit happen a few years ago? But you're excited, and then when it's over, what's the conversation? They ducked each other for so long. This would have been better then. Yeah, it's a win, but it would have been a lot. And it's never clean like they want it. They see it looks clean, 50-0, 41-0 with one draw or whatever. It looks clean, but it's not. There's all kinds of asterisks there. I'd rather see a fighter who just went after everyone and have a 42-2 record than a 48-0 with a ton of asterisks. Yeah, but he ducked him and 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 him. Way better. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's nothing new. But that's just those are the complaints, and that was my favorite part about that fight. Whether he gets a rematch or gives him one, or he goes back to super middle and gets those belts back, who knows? They're saying Bivol might come down to 168 and fight him, and yeah, that could be cool. But I'll tell you this: I'm gonna watch the next Bivol fight. I'm still gonna watch Canelo fight because those guys are both great. And I don't know. To me, I didn't see anyone really lose. Like it wasn't a grand upset where someone just got. Like, it wasn't like Canelo got fucking got one to the chin and just face planted onto the mat where you're like, it wasn't like that. And I've watched it again since a couple of times, and it was great. It was bizarre seeing Canelo get so frustrated. It was awesome watching Bivol just put on a fucking footwork clinic. And I mean, the guy is just like, he throws a perfect jab. Those are the things you watch and remember and want to emulate when you go into the boxing gym. You're like, I'm going to throw a fucking jab like Bivol, or head movement like Canelo and those hooks. Stuff like that is great, man. Those are the fights I want to watch and rewatch, not the one that came 4 years too late and was just sort of like, yeah, just to like a bucket list fight, Like watching Canelo Triple G now, sure, it'll be a little bit more exciting because you're like, oh, Canelo is you can penetrate the armor, but it'll be like watching the Rolling Stones now or Bob Dylan. You're like, bucket list. Yeah, I'm watching it because I've wanted to watch it, but this shit would have been better 5 years ago. But yeah, man, I don't know. Will anyone? Is it just that there's too many promoters? Is it there's too many people from different sides, like waiting for more money? Like this fucking Spence Crawford fight, I'm just like, I don't even care anymore. And now they're saying it's going to happen. Spence beat Ugas, Bivol. And now he's like, I want Crawford. But do you think it's going to happen this year or by the middle of next? By now, I'm like, I'll fucking see it when I see it. And it's going to be another one of those fights where we'll watch it and we'll be like, this would have been better 2 years ago. I know Spence had the car accident, but even before that, or his first fight back after, like, come on. And if say Crawford loses, they're going to go, well, Spence waited out. You already know the way it's going to go. You already know how the conversation's going to play out. Bud loses, and they're going to go, well, Spence was ducking him, which I think he has been, until he was, a little bit older, which 35 is not old. I still think Crawford's great, but that'll be the conversation. That will be it. And then if Crawford wins, they're going to go, well, Spence isn't the same since the car accident, blah, 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 even though I think he is, if not maybe even a little better. 2 years ago would have been great. I don't know. But that fight was good for boxing. I want more of that shit. And all these younger guys, all the Haneys and the Ryan Garcias, and they're like, we're going to bring boxing back. We're taking the fights. Ryan Garcia all over Twitter and Instagram. Ryan Garcia, I'm the new king, and I'm into this, and I'm bringing back, we're going to fight the best fights. And then, like, the next fight he gets into is like Joe Smith. Or just some fucking random dude from, like, Rwanda. It's like, who? No one signed up for that. No one wants to see that. And they're on social media. They know. They know who we want to see. They know what the numbers can be and what the pay-per-views will bring in. They ain't doing it. Haney's going to fight Kambosos. And it's, we'll see. I know it's pretty much, it's going to happen. But there's still that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, we'll see. All right, enough about boxing. I forgot what the other thing was. Oh yeah, I should have fucking at the beginning. I'm gonna be in fucking DC and Chicago, you guys, and how do I do this? Hold on, I'm sorry. This is what I want to do. I want to get this fucking picture onto here. There we go. Yeah. Let's cover up this Hey Pal thing. I should have put this up here in the beginning, but I was too excited about that Hey Pal fucking fluorescent neon. Okay. Well, that's going to stay up there till the end. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. this Wednesday. Today's the 16th. I'm going to be there the 18th at the D.C. Comedy Loft. Count 'em, one show. Wednesday at 8, let's say, p.m. Go to my website. All the info's there. The following week, I'll be at Zany's in downtown Chicago. Get your fucking asses down there. One night, one show, in and out. And if you don't come, I'll never be allowed to go to Chicago again. The mayor issued an order that said if this show doesn't get to at least 75% capacity, this comedian, and then it was a photo of me, will never be allowed in Chicago city limits ever again. And that's heartbreaking because I didn't know the mayor had it out for me like that. But, I think he's looking out for small businesses, and you have to respect that. But so, yeah, one show, one night, Zany's Chicago, which is a fucking rad room. Last time I did it was a number of years ago. Me and Ari Shafir did it together to finance a basically trip to Chicago to see the Arcade Fire at United Arena on the Reflector Tour. And it was great. That show paid for like the tickets, and we got special whatever stuff. And then the Airbnb. It was super fun, and the show was awesome. So this will be, I think, the only show in Chicago for the rest of the year. So this is your fucking chance, assholes. NickYoussef.com/gigs. Come on down, or send a friend, or bring a friend. Bring like 50 people. Everyone Bring 50 of your friends. Go make 47 friends. None of you have 50 friends. We all have 4 friends and a bunch of acquaintances. Tell them to go. So yeah, those will be fun. I like those 2 cities. I'm going to try not to eat deep dish. I actually will successfully not eat deep dish because I'm not going to be there long enough. I'm going to be fucking in and out. Gone. No time to inhale a whole entire Lou Malnati's Meat Lovers deep dish over the course of 2 days. Lou Malnati's deep dish. Oh. God, that stuff is so fucking good. They have that disc of sausage that just fucking is laid out all across the pizza. That's like one of the layers. It's just a fucking disc of sausage. So every slice you cut, every bite, you are getting sausage in the pizza. It's genius. Maybe I will have a deep dish. I won't. I've been good. I've been good on the road. I've been responsibly, eating or just eating less, just so I'm not like giving in to some temptation, or just sometimes it's not even a temptation. Sometimes you just give in because it's because of proximity. You're like, I don't even, there's a Whole Foods, but it's like 20 miles or some shit, or like just anything healthy. It's hard, especially in the Midwest, man. There's just not a lot of healthy food. So sometimes you go, I'm just going to eat a handful of fucking trail mix or something, and then just like wait till dinner. Ends up being better that way. You're not wasting money on something you kind of don't really want in the first place, and then you feel like shit afterwards. But I've been pretty good. I've been happy. And now, since I'm fucking 70 years old, I have to watch out for what I eat a little bit more, which I don't feel any certain way, but that's just one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, you're not in your 20s or 30s anymore, so maybe dial it back on the deep dishes, the red meat and the meat in general, all that stuff. I got to go to a doctor and see what they say. Be like, all right, just tell me I am healthy as a 24-year-old so I can keep shoveling awful shit into my face for another 10 years. I'd be like, come on, doc. I'm biking 100 miles a week. Can't I just eat an ice cream sundae for breakfast? Come on, doc. Give it to me straight. Or whatever. And I'll be like, I am giving it to you straight. Don't do that, you idiot. Went to Ryan Adams night before last at little place called Carnegie Hall. Apparently, they don't read the news. When did he get consequenced? Was it I think it was 2019. So that one was kind of a difficult one because I'm like a big fan. And, there's a New York Times piece and I think a couple other things that basically went through how he is the world's worst boyfriend. Not a surprise if you've listened to, I don't know, more than 0 Ryan Adams songs, which I have. There was the potential thing where like he was instant messaging or whatever the fuck, G-chatting with some young musician he was going to take under his wing, and then she said she was 22, but then he thought she was younger, and then she wouldn't show him an ID, and it was like, ooh, that was going to be it for me. I was like, okay, well, if it comes out that he knew that, I don't know. That's no thanks. FBI looked into it. I don't think nothing came of it. So it's still kind of like borderline, like, what? Come on. You shouldn't be like playing with fire like that. What are you doing? I don't know. Like, it made me a little bit weird about listening to him for a little bit, like that year. But then I was like, I could count the fucking Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger is fucking done way worse. I don't know. It's hard with those, but I'm like, look, if they don't find anything, I'm just gonna naturally see what happens. Am I gonna like start listening to his music and just sort of do it from there? And it took a little bit. I didn't force it one way or another. I was like, how am I just gonna do this on its own? And I didn't fight it one way or another. I didn't try and convince myself it's not as bad or he was this, he was that. I just go like, I read the thing. If any more comes out, we'll go from there. Nothing more came out. If something else like that happens, that's a whole nother thing. But I'll look at his Instagram, and I even I hit him up, and I was like, let me do a fucking, interview. I'll follow you around Brooklyn or LA or wherever, and we'll see where you're at. Because he seems like he's been doing a lot of work on himself. He's been sober for like 35 weeks, and he's lost a lot of like money and work and this and that, and he's in therapy, and I don't know, like, it's okay, maybe this is his second chance or his last chance or the rebirth or something, and we'll see how it goes. If it turns out he's still being a fucking piece of shit to his next girlfriend, it becomes a whole thing, and it's probably going to turn me off even more. And the music's still the music. The old stuff I'll still like, but I'm not going to make a decision about what might happen next with someone if it hasn't happened yet. I already know he's a difficult guy, and he's, it's just hard. It's just there's no easy answer. There's no easy like decision. But I definitely, it has colored the way I see him, whether it's a photo of him or him on Instagram. You kind of second guess certain things, or you listen to certain songs maybe a little differently now. And, and I guess it's always been like that to a degree. You hear things about artists over the years, and it just sort of changes either a little or a lot depending on the thing. And I don't know. I mean, that in and of itself is a consequence, and I'm fine with it. He hasn't been a great guy, and maybe this is what happens when you're, I don't know, I don't even know the details. See, I was about to be like, what happens when you aren't nice to your wife? Like, what? Yeah, just was drinking and using and being emotionally shitty to his ex-wife, and I think he dated Phoebe Bridgers. I don't know all the details, but I'm not going to recommend a friend of mine go out with him. Like, there's another consequence. And whether he ends up in court for something, if more information comes out, I won't go see him next time, probably. Who knows? Why did I go see him this time? Well, I missed going to concerts. I wanted my girlfriend to see him. I gave her the rundown. I was like, this is all the music. Here's what I like. He did get into this situation, and I laid it out, and I was like, if you want to go, great. She said, yeah. And I was curious what it was going to be like at the show. Is it going to be empty? Is it going to be like, what kind of audience? What are they going to say when this was his first show in like 4 years? And I wanted to maybe cover it for a publication. So I was, there was some self-interest there. And I was curious. I was like, what's the demographic going to be? Like, I've only really ever seen him in LA. It was a lot more couples, more like, stuff would appeal to girls, and maybe you see groups of girls, and then dudes obviously like his stuff. And it just this felt a little more, and my girlfriend said it. She's like, it feels kind of bro-y in here. And it kind of fucking did. I mean, I think the guys were like, yeah, he's back. He fucking writes about his heart in a way I can relate, and they got super jacked up about it. There was one guy, like, the row in front of us, about 8 seats over, just wouldn't shut. A lot of like, woo, yeah, welcome back, we love you. And then it went from like single, syllable things to like full sentences. He's yelling at the guy, and people are like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, I hope another one of these bros gets all broy on him, and then they fucking bro down and have a fucking bro fight, and then they get fucking broed out of there onto their bro asses onto the street like dumb bros. And then eventually I think they just fucking wrung out all the testosterone they had in their body, and then they were just like for the rest of the show. But it had more of like an aggressive energy, and I was not looking for that. I was not going like, I bet it's going to be more like this or that. I was just like, I just want to go. I want to see if I have a good time like I have before. Will it color the way I attend the show? Will I feel like I'm around a bunch of people that are like, saying shitty things about, his ex-wife or women or this or cancel culture or whatever. I was like, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it that much because I don't want it to be that. I want it to be like, I want to see a dude, singing the songs, bearing his soul, and just feeling the connection. And it was mostly that, which was nice. And he got like a 2-minute almost standing ovation when he came out on stage. He didn't really milk it, he kind of like waved a couple times and nodded and picked up his guitar but then put it back down, and then the applause, they kind of know what they're doing when they want a little bit more. But I think he also was taking it in like, okay, maybe my life isn't over. And, you're like, fine, like take literally a minute, and he took, it's been 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I kind of looked at my watch and I was like, let's see. I also do that when a show starts. I want to know exactly how long it is. So yeah, I got about like 2 minutes of a standing ovation, and, a lot of male voices, female. It was just, everyone was super fucking jacked up, and they were like, yes, we want to see the songs, and we are here for you. We love you. There's a lot of that. We love you. We miss you. A lot of girls yelling, yeah, I love you. Welcome back. Thank you. All that kind of stuff. And it felt, the other thing too that felt kind of good was, since it had been like 4 years, it all of it felt very pre-COVID too, which was nice, even though we had to have masks on the whole time. Probably because the door staff at Carnegie Hall is 113 years old, and not having a mask would have meant they all died right away. So I couldn't really argue that. But they are fucking old, those door people. Whew. I don't even know how they're going to drag anyone. Like, if they got that bro guy out, what were they going to do? It would have been like, they had to call everyone on staff, plus the people who were off that day, to come in just to grab that dude by the arms and legs and drag him out. Then they'd have to open the door. They'd have to call in the reserves. It would have been a fucking nightmare. But it did have like a pre-COVID sort of, things felt normal, felt like the before times again. It just felt like an escape in a way concerts should have been. He didn't mention anything directly. He just said, thank you. This means a lot. He said he's happy to be back, and you could feel it, man. He was like, maybe he had some nerves for like a minute or two, but he was cracking jokes, and like he was in a groove almost right away. I mean, he's a seasoned veteran. He's been doing this shit 30 years more, maybe. So he got back in the groove like right away. The one comment he made that indirectly has to do with the Me Too stuff was something. It was like a Bryan Adams joke where it was like, after you hear this song, you're gonna have your fill of emotion. So when your girlfriend goes, "Hey, you're not crying at this movie," he'll say, "Oh, I just saw a Ryan Adams concert. I'm all cried out for 6 months." And that got like a big laugh. I laughed. I was like, "Yeah, you do sad rock, yeah." And then he goes, and then the girlfriend would go, you mean summer of '69, Bryan Adams? And then that got a laugh too. And then he goes, but nowadays you'd probably go, yeah, that one, which is like a nod to the guy distancing himself from, it being, Ryan and all the stuff he's gone through, obviously. And that was the only sort of mention he got even close to. And then he, continued on. And it was a good show. It was good. And these are the consequences of that thing, is that you're going to have to take a few years off. And when you come back, people are still going to be talking about it. He hasn't done an interview, hasn't addressed really anything head on. And I'm sure if he does, then it will close that chapter. But it's going to be like this, I think, for a little. People, there's always going to be that asterisk, Bryan Adams played the whatever. Oh, you mean the guy that, was shitty to his wife and girlfriend and lied about a record deal for whoever, some musician or something. He was going to work with her and then dated her, and then the deal fell through. I don't know what the behind the scenes stuff was, but that's always going to be there. And, if the guy is like true to himself and his word, maybe the thing that comes after that in the next couple of years will be, but then he grew and this and got sober and became a better person and all that stuff. And then, by the end, it'll be a complete story of a guy who fucking made a lot of mistakes and actually tried and got better. And which really what, that's what kind of most artists with like a good outlook and like, like a good heart, I think, are probably trying to do. They're trying to figure out their flaws in the least shitty way, most artistic, creative way possible. And that's how they were doing it before there was a social media. And, look, like, read the stories of country stars, dude, from back in the day. They were kind of monsters. I mean, there's that really funny show that that animated. It was like a Showtime show about country stars and the crazy stories. Mike Judge did it. Watch any one of those things. It's just wall-to-wall felonies and statutory rape all over the place. It's fucking crazy. But since it happened a long time ago and it's animated, it's like, oh, these country stars are wild. I mean, any one of those guys do a quarter of what they did today. If would blow anything Ryan Adams did out of the fucking water. They're nuts. They're marrying 13-year-olds. They're fucking shooting at people. It's crazy. Drunk driving. Fucking. They're maniacs. I don't know. But, we live in a different time. And there's more accountability. And you don't be a piece of shit. If you are, work to make up for it. Make those amends, Ryan. Which I guess he's doing. 35 weeks sober. Good for you, dude. Good for you. I just hit 10 years in April. 10 years and 40 years old. Whew. Still don't know how I feel about it all. It's kind of different every day. It's like a bummer. Then it's like, no, I have more tools than ever to be a more successful me and a more successful comic and a more successful writer and all. And then other times you're like, dude, it's just how much longer? Like, which bridge am I jumping off of? Yeah, man, it's just like a fucking up, down, up that Richter scale of. Oh, but that's the way it is, dude. That is the way it is. Anyhow, today is good. That's all you can ask for, Today is good. It's fucking muggy. Look at that sweat. And we'll hope tomorrow is too, and the day after that I'll be in D.C. at the D.C. Comedy Loft, and then the week after that, St. East Chicago. And there you have it, everybody. It's good to see you. Good to talk to you. Get on the Patreon. Join that Discord where you can talk to me fucking all you want. I answer all of them. Everything. We talk and talk and talk. That's where you have unrestricted access to questions and comments and music suggestions and what about this denim and how about this coffee and blah, 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 and something about a bicycle. Whatever you want. It's all there. And sweet fucking merch, dude. I'm still waiting on a couple of photos of the 6-month Patreon shirt that went out. Came out great. The 12-month thing is going to be cool too. And then I got a couple of separate projects I'm doing that will have some merch with them. And phew, those go to you too. Okay, that's all. Let's end it. Let's end it. Goodbye. Goodbye.
It's the end of